Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads and welcome to another reading vlog. I have two books that I am planning to read in this video. I'm going to start with It's Not a Cult by Lauren Danhof. This book focuses on a woman called Glinda. She's not a good witch. Her mother has fallen foul of what Glinda suspects to be a cult. And they're going to be moving into her home. Her mum is marrying the leader of what we think is a cult. And Glinda is like, I need to stop this. Glinda's life is not going exactly as planned. She has dropped out of university. She's currently working as a dunking wench at a medieval fair, which actually sounds quite fun. And she's maybe not the best equipped person to undertake this mission, but she is determined to save her family. This book has been described as a cross between Bunny by Mona Awad meets the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I think that's the title of it. I love Bunny. I love Mona Awad. Yes, I have never watched Kimmy Schmidt, but I know what it's about. So those comparisons have kind of set an expectation for me of a really endearing main character. All I know about Kimmy Schmidt is that she's very positive, she's very peppy, everyone kind of loves her, and she's got really like the perfect shade of hair, but that's totally an aside. And Bunny, I'm expecting weirdness, I'm expecting kind of cliques, I'm expecting like cool outfits. I don't know, I'm intrigued. So I'll give it a go. And the other book I'm going to be reading is an ebook called Slags by Emma Jane Unsworth. I have read Adults by this author a couple of years ago in a video where I think it was the lowest rated book on my Goodreads TBR, and I loved it. So I'm looking forward to this. This focuses on a sort of sisterly road trip. We have older sister Sarah and her younger sister Juliet is turning 40. The road trip is for her 40th birthday, and they have flashback scenes to when they were teenagers, and Sarah was having an incredibly inappropriate relationship with a teacher. So that's something. I don't know what to expect with this. I know that this author writes characters who are perhaps not lovable or likeable, but they are interesting, and I think that I don't need to love the character, I just need to be interested in what they are getting on with. So that's my plan, is to read these two books, and I also have to make an offering to the YouTubes. In my recent video where I did my quarterly report, I said that one of my favourite things on the internet right now was watching what is in my bag videos. So I feel I should show you what's in my bag, because how am I consuming other people sharing their content and not sharing my own? So I'm going to quickly do that and then we'll get into the books. So this is my bag, it jingle jangles. I am an adult lady with an adult lady handbag. Yes, this is a cat-shaped handle and little cat-shaped studs. It's from Vendula, London, and I got it in sale using Christmas money. So an all-round win. First of all, we have a little lip balm. This is my favourite. Banana Glossier lip balm. It's the banana pudding one. They don't sell it anymore. And I'm kind of annoyed I fell in love with it because now I can't get another one. And the handle is kind of falling apart. It's a few years old and it's not leather, so there's only a limited shelf life. But I do have a big birthday coming up and I have promised myself I can get the very nice handbag I have coveted for over 10 years, I believe we're at now. So that's happening. I have my very apt purse, my little bookworm purse, and on the back, if my book is open, your mouth should be shut. That's far more aggressive than I am, but I mean, it's not wrong. I have my ancient sunglasses. I got these for £1 in New Look in approximately 2005, and I love them. They are rainbow, they are giant. What more could a girl ask for? And my passport. I needed ID for travel money recently, and then it turned out I didn't need ID anyway. So I'm just carrying my passport around as if I'm ready to just flee. I still have the maroon one. When this expires, I'm going to have to get the, I think they're black, navy? I don't even know. It will be a different colour. And yes, we do have a unicorn on our passports. I have a pen. This is the best pen, in my opinion, in the whole wide world. This is just a Bic standard pen. I bought my boyfriend a box of like 100 of them, and I love them. Cheap and cheerful, but the best pen ever. Always in black. I don't like a blue biro. I have an empty hand cream. This is going to go in the bin because it's empty. I can't use it. I have a non-empty hand cream. I'm obsessed with this smell. It's called Lily Haze by Glossier, and it smells like summer, and I love it. I have a little bunny that I got from work at Easter, and it just lives in my bag for now. I might put it on a keychain. I think that might be quite fun. And headphones. I know I used to have AirPods, but they lasted a few years and then they died, and these were 20 quid. So much preferable to buying new AirPods. And I feel like they just fell out of my ears. Anyway, tissues. Always need to have tissues. And I have a beauty counter in my bag as well. I have a travel-sized Glossier U perfume. It just smells like I know what I'm doing in life, which is something I like to pretend. And I have like a little sample. This is not going to even show at all. A little sample of Orange Blossom and Neroli. This is the body spray that matches my hand cream, and it smells amazing. I have a lip oil. This is e.l.f. It's called Red Delicious, and it smells amazing, and it's really minty, and I just really like it. It's nice and sheer. And a NYX fat oil in the shade Supermodel. I probably could have put a lip oil on before I filmed, but I didn't. And sunscreen, SPF, Biore, and it's really nice. Like, I thought it'd be oily because it goes on feeling a little oily, but it dries almost instantly. I am currently this far down, so I mean, I'm not burned. And then finally, I have my tiny pharmacy that lives in my bag. This is recent. I felt unwell at work, so I got Pepto-Bismol and then washed the cup and left it in my bag. So I have Pepto-Bismol that lives in my handbag. I have Imodium Instance. If you know, you know. And if you don't know, I'm really happy for you. And I have various wind relief, like trapped wind relief, because I can't digest anything right now. So I've got Buscofin, which is just mint capsules, and I have Deflatin by Rennie's. I usually have Rennie's in my bag, but I have finished them. This looks like I'm holding, these are tablets for trapped wind. They look like something else, but they're not. So that is my very, very boring what is in my handbag. But I felt really bad that I'd been watching so many and hadn't even bothered to share my own. So now I have, and I can go back to watching other people with far more interesting handbag contents than myself. I'm going to go read some books, then I'll come back and I will tell you about those books. I look bedraggled, but that's okay. The reason I look bedraggled is there was snow. It's April. There was snow. I will not question it because we tend to get like a second winter, even if it's just for like a day or two. There was snow. I was out for a walk. I was walking against the direction of the snow. So the snow was just whacking me in the face. I had a numb face, but like a joyful heart because I love the snow. I wanted to, I'm not giving a book update right now. I am, but not about the books I'm reading. I have books. My first book haul of the year. My work has a sort of, hey, do you want a book shelf where people just bring in a book that they don't want? I got 2 books. So these are the first 2 physical books I am adding to my new to me in 2026 list because I have a list. It does have an ebook on it, but I've listened to it. I'm rambling. Here's my books. I have 2 new books. I'm fairly certain these were both dropped off by the same person, and it does feel at this point that she and I are just swapping books with each other, but that's okay. I have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is a book that I think I should have read, and from everything I've heard about it, I would have loved this when I was like 14. I don't know, I think I probably should have been reading this when I was reading The Bell Jar. I didn't. Did it exist at that point? Yes, this came out in 1992, and I read The Bell Jar in whatever year 10 Things I Hate About You came out, which I think was 1999. Anyway, this is a dark academia book, and I feel like this is the almost, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in a nice way, if I am wrong, but I think that this is almost like this entry level dark academia. Maybe. I feel this book features on like every "so you wanna read dark academia" list, and I love dark academia. Haven't read that much of it. I want to read more. I feel I should start with level 1. All I know about this is that we have very privileged students and they do stuff that they shouldn't do. That's it. And I feel I'm probably quite lucky to go into this knowing that little, because this is a really popular book. I think. I see it a lot and I don't know much about it. And I want to keep it that way. I did consider, should I look up a little bit more in the blurb so I can share a bit more? But then I thought, open myself up to the risk of spoilers. So I didn't. I also got, I don't know anything about this, and I could be making this up. I got Floating Hotel. First of all, how cute, like no offense, Secret History, no offense, but how cute is this cover? This is by Grace Curtis, and it is about a hotel in space. Welcome to the Grand Abiona Hotel, home of the finest food, the sweetest service, and the very best views the galaxy has to offer. Year-round, it moves from planet to planet, system to system, pampering the guests across the furthest reaches of the Milky Way, the last word in suborbital luxury, and a magnet for intrigue. Intrigues such as, why are there love poems in the lobby entry? How many Imperial spies are currently on board? What is the true purpose of the Problem Solvers Conference? And perhaps most pertinently, who is driving the ship? I don't know, but there was something about this cover, blurb, it made me think of Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. A wonderful series if you haven't read it. And it's a TV show as well. And I think it's also a film. Anyway, it seemed like it might be charming and like fun and a little bit whimsical. So my 2 new books, I'm thinking these, maybe I plan these for like another reading vlog where I read my new books, because I like the idea of, obviously new books is that's wonderful. Who doesn't love new books? But I love the idea of actually reading my new books kind of close to when I get them because I don't let them pile up. I'm going through, I have my little list of books that I got in 2025. Both of the books I'm reading in this video are from 2025. I've got like 40 something books I got last year that I have not read. That's ridiculous. I need to get that number down. That's part of the reason I've not really been buying books. She says, as she's just shown you 2 books that she's just got. Anyway, I just want you to show you the new books I have because I'm really, really excited about them. Let me know if you've read them. And I'll come back with an update in a little bit. It is Sunday and I have been productive. I went out to Pilates and it was raining. I got soaked because I decided I was going to walk. I don't know why. I thought that would be a good idea, but I did. So I got absolutely soaked, but I was early, so I had a coffee, dried off, warmed up, and I almost finished my book. I almost finished reading Slags at the cafe. but I didn't. And then I went to class. I pilated, past tense of Pilates, I don't know. And then I came home, showered, let my hair air dry. So now I look a little bit like one of those kings, probably a Charles or something. It looked like a king in a portrait where he has this just nothing long hair. That's what it looks like just now, but it's fine. It's fine. It's okay. I then finished my book. When I think about it though, I keep thinking the title is Girls or The Girls, but it's not. It's Slags. Which will never not make me want to do a really bad like Grant/Phil Mitchell impression, but as we know, I can't do impressions, so I'm not going to do that. Also, when I do a deep voice, I have a coughing fit, and as you can probably tell, my voice is a little croaky because I walked in the rain. I would say I overall liked this book. I gave it 3 stars, but in my heart of hearts, it's a 3.5. It wasn't quite a 4. And I think that was just because there are 2 different timelines and I much preferred one of them over the other. I preferred the flashback scenes. They were in the late 90s. These characters, I actually went into this thinking this book was a lot more recent a release than it was, because my friend said the characters were her age and her sister's age. And I was like, well, then they're my age and the age my sister would be. And while that's correct, throughout reading the book, I sort of got a bit of, some of these references felt a bit, the timeline didn't match up with like my own experiences, which would have been at the same time. And then I realised that's because even though the characters are like my age, the book is 2 years older. So the youngest sister is turning 40. But now if we take into account modern day times, she would be 42, which is not a big difference when you're my age now. But that's a huge difference when you are looking at her growing up at age 13. I would have been 11. These are worlds apart at that age. But I really did like the flashback scenes. I liked getting to see Sarah and her best friend. I liked getting to see their relationship. And just knowing they would have bullied me in school. I just knew it. I was like, oh, yep. I liked reading about them, but I wouldn't have wanted anything to do with them. And I felt myself, every flashback scene was so tense because there is a relationship that Sarah has with her grown-ass adult teacher. There is an inappropriate relationship that is not clear to the reader if it's real and if it's actually happening, or is this in her mind? Is this her fantasy? We don't know. So I've read enough books such as My Dark Vanessa that I'm just like, oh no, what's coming? What's going to happen next? And we are reading about Sarah, who is getting ready to run away with this teacher. And we get to see their interactions, and it's just not clear. It's so ambiguous whether it is actually happening or not, which adds to the tension, and I felt a little bit queasy. No, it was just very difficult to read. But it also felt, it felt quite realistic to a sort of 90s teenage experience. Obviously not the teacher romance / wannabe teacher romance, because I don't remember anybody at my school even vaguely interested in any teacher at all. We got a spell of like new young teachers when I was in like 5th year, and people were all excited because they were like, oh, people under the age of 30, which was unheard of at my school, and that excitement quickly faded. But I liked the teenage friendships. I liked the sort of teenage one-upping each other, the exaggerations of things, the rush that they had to grow up, which is something that I definitely felt. I was a young teenager. Like, obviously teenagers are, to me, like, they're young, but I was emotionally very young, and I definitely felt a pressure to grow up quicker than I was comfortable to. So I felt that was quite relatable, and also just so sad. So sad. And I liked seeing Juliet, the way that she changed her interests so quickly when she was just trying to find out who she was. She was 13 in these older sections. And if you know who you are at 13, that's wonderful. Delighted for you. But it can sometimes take a bit longer to really solidify who you are. And I liked getting to join her on that journey, that discovery to find out who she was. There was a scene at a concert, and I went to so many concerts when I was like 14 and up, and there was a bit that I thought, there will be people who read this that argue that it wasn't that easy. And I think it was, because they get backstage at a concert, and I was forever getting backstage at concerts. And I don't know if it's just maybe I didn't go and see bands that were huge, but there were so many bands I went to see that I would easily get backstage, get to meet them and be like, okay, have a fun show, and then go back and watch the show. And it was just so easily done. And I wasn't a glamorous teen. I was an awkward, big-toothed, big-eared teen. I finally grew into my ears. But I just felt it was so realistic in the flashback scenes that it made me uncomfortable, but in a good way. The modern day sections, I didn't like them as much. I think if the book was all or even more flashbacks, because it alternated between the two, I probably would have given it 4 stars. But the modern day sections, I didn't really like. We have the sibling relationship, which I really did enjoy. I enjoyed seeing how that had changed between childhood, when they didn't really spend any time with each other, to adulthood, where they are going away on a trip together to celebrate Juliet's 40th birthday. Juliet's married, she's got kids, but she is spending that time with her sister. That showed, to me anyway, super close relationship. The relationship was a bit strained, and there was something that it felt like it was bubbling on the surface, waiting to come up. And when it does come up, I was like, oh. And that was quite interesting, but it was also quite sad that they had lost so many years over that. And it felt like neither character was where they thought they might be in their own lives. They were not happy, they were not fulfilled. They were chasing something that wasn't real. I probably could have lived without the description of Sarah's gynecological issues. Not something I really needed to know about, but awareness, I suppose, is a thing. I did like as well, there was a moment where we find out that he is there. He is spotted. And I was like, who is he? Is he the teacher? Is he somebody else? Because I know Sarah's not with the teacher as an adult. So I'm like, well, what happened with the teacher? Was it real? Was it not? What's going on here? I was captivated. I wanted to know what was going to happen. And I did enjoy the journey, but I just felt like I didn't overly care about the road trip, because there was just a lot of like squabbling, changing of the grey water. I don't know what grey water is in a caravan. However, there is a section in the book where they go to T-Bay, which is the best service station in the country, like the UK. It is the greatest service station. I am passionate about how this is the best service station. There's ducks. There's like a pond. There's a little bridge. It's charming. I used to play roller derby, so we were forever like driving up and down the country. So I got to know a lot of service stations, and T-Bay is hands down the best service station ever. But yeah, I suppose this book was just, it was fine. And I think if you are in your sort of late 30s, early 40s, you may also find a bit of this book to be quite relatable to the time and get something out of that. I did really like the sibling relationship though, and that was the whole reason why I picked the book up. So I liked that, even though it wasn't a relationship that I mean, it's not a relationship I will have, but it's not one I don't think I think if my sister was still here, we would not have that kind of relationship. We were definitely more of a pair than Sarah and Juliet were. There was also there was allusions to like relationship fallouts that I never got to find out about. And I know that stuff happens. Many years have passed between the teenage sections and the grown women sections. But if you tell me that you're no longer talking to the person you were speaking to here, I need to know why. I need to know why. Because it feels relevant. Because you've mentioned this person so much here in ye past. Why are they not in ye current time? And yes, people fall out of touch. That's normal. You grow up. People change. But just tell me if that's the reason why, or if there's a falling out. Tell me. I have two updates. Update one, I got my glasses. And they're all ready. I've got makeup on them because I get makeup on glasses. It happens. Anyway, I can see, which is also weird. I have now also finished update 2 with It's Not a Cult. And I'm choosing my language very carefully because I finished with it. I have not finished it. I'm going to DNF this. And that's okay because I'm trying really hard. The cat is snoring next to me. He's adorable. I'm trying really hard to, if I am not enjoying a book and I can't find something to hold my interest, something I genuinely care about, I'm trying really hard to just nope out, put it down, go read something that I do enjoy. So that's what I'm doing here. I will tell you a little bit more about the book, and then I will tell you likes and dislikes. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean that other people won't love it. We have Glinda, who is a twin. She lives with her mother and her younger sister, who's called West. Yes, every single character in this book has a either Wizard of Oz or Wicked inspired name. I gave up on the book at page 133, and so far absolutely no reason was given for this other than the mum really liked Wicked. But I do feel that if you really liked Wicked, why would you name your child West and not, Elphaba or Elfie or... I don't know. It just felt a strange choice. Of all of the choices you could have had, to go with West, I don't know. Linda's father passed away just about 2 years ago before the book begins, and her mum has found solace in what is seemingly a cult. And she is going to marry the cult leader, and he's going to move in with all of the cult followers and make that their clubhouse. Glinda's not okay with this, but it feels like Glinda's reason for not being okay with this, because of course you're not okay with this. Her rationale is people are moving into the house. Somebody's using her dad's study, which of course is still very raw for her to see somebody else where her dad once was. Her concern isn't led by my mum's being manipulated. And I feel that should be top of your list, is mum's being manipulated. Mum's being there is an element of brainwashing that is happening. There are some substances being used by the cult, and that should be her motivation to get her mum safe. Is that not just, I'm gonna have to share my room? I also felt that Glinda is just incredibly immature. She is dealing with something. She had a horrific incident happen and she needs to get help to process this, but she doesn't. And instead, she's just a very awful, selfish, boring character. I can deal with all of her character flaws, of which there are many, but she is dull. And that's the crime. I kept just wondering why the sort of mid-20-year-old character was more immature than the 17-year-old. The 17-year-old, she was solid, she was dependable, she was a functional human being. But Glinda was not. There was a relationship breakout between Glinda and her sister Dorothy. Again, the mum is explained as really liking Wicked, not The Wizard of Oz, but Wicked. If you really liked Wicked and you're naming your kids after Wicked, I'll stop saying Wicked, you're not picking Dorothy. Dorothy's not in that book / musical, now a film, for that long, for long enough to be impactful. So that was weird. But her twin Dorothy has gone off with her husband. They are looking for Sasquatch, which was interesting. And I would have liked a little bit more of that. You get to hear about the relationship fallout between Glinda and Dorothy, and it just makes you dislike Glinda so much. You can see her thought process, but her actions are just cruel and selfish and just no. There's a little bit of a love interest bubbling, and I don't know. I wasn't liking it. I didn't enjoy the writing. I found it to be very tell me, don't show me, and I want to be shown. Don't tell me something's happening. Let me, the reader, get there on my reading journey. Let me find it out. I didn't enjoy it. So I'm not going to finish it. The bookmark is out. I'm not finishing this. So I am ending this video with a book I enjoyed and I had a fun time with, and a book that I kind of hope to forget. But on the plus side, Goodreads now has a DNF shelf, and my shelf is now 3 books long. I've DNF'd way more than that, but since that shelf has come out, there's been 3. It's a really weird dinner party. So far, there is this book, there is a book called Hags, which was a non-fiction book, which felt like a bait and switch. It wasn't about what it claimed to be about, which was sort of middle-aged women. It just definitely took an angle that I didn't have any interest in. And a Jessica Simpson memoir, because I was reading that on an audiobook and she just kept singing. I don't like when people sing in books because it doesn't work in a book. It works in an audiobook, but if you've got a book, it needs to work in all of the formats, and it's my pet peeve. I'm not a musical girly, even though I have seen Wicked one time and it was wonderful, but I have no desire to go and see it again. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let me know if you've read any of these books. If not, let me know if you've read any others. If my glasses look silly, please don't tell me that, because I feel really self-conscious wearing them. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.